In Tanzania, Africa's largest population of lions are achieving the impossible.
In my 12-year career of lion work, I've never seen anything like this.
These consummate killers normally take down wildebeests and zebras with ease. But here, they've broken the rules and developed a ferocious appetite for an unlikely prey.
They're being hammered left, right, and center.
They're taking on the giants, risking death to attack colossal giraffes, 6 times their own size.
Giraffes have been known to kill lions when they're defending themselves.
So how are they doing it? Have they become specialist killers?
They are proficient hunters of giraffe, or experts in giraffe hunting.
And what does the future hold for one of nature's giants?
There's certainly a concern about becoming more endangered or even going extinct.
Selous, Tanzania. One of Africa's wildest and largest game reserves. Stretching over 20,000 square miles, it's a labyrinth of sandy riverbeds, channeling through vast unexplored woodlands, cut in two by the mighty Rufiji River. This great wilderness is a thriving habitat for some of Africa's most iconic animals, and home to Africa's largest population of lions, all 7,000 of them. Here, these apex predators reign supreme and take their rightful place as king of the kill.
Lions are amazing animals. They're the largest cats, at least in Africa. They're incredibly powerful. I mean, if you watch a lion, you'll see that they have incredible muscle mass. They have these strong upper bodies, and that's why they're really successful. They occupy a niche that's unavailable to other predators in Africa.
The average male lion stands at around 4 feet tall and can reach over 7 feet in length. This muscular killing machine weighs in at around 500 pounds and is armed with razor-sharp claws and teeth. Their bite pressure alone is almost 700 pounds per square inch. Lions hunt around every 3 to 4 days. To maximize their success, they normally choose animals close to their own size.
There are various factors that I think come together to make the ideal prey for lions. So 1, you want something with a lot of meat on it. 2, you want something about the right size for a lion to bring down. And 3, you want something that's readily available.
Lions usually hunt wildebeests, antelopes, and zebras because they can leap on their backs and overpower them with their brute strength, easily reaching the throat to suffocate them. But lions are opportunistic hunters and occasionally will attack slightly larger prey.
Every now and then, usually quite rarely and usually specific prides, will concentrate on larger game like buffalo.
But bringing down buffalo takes more energy, and the sheer size of the prey carries a lot more risk. So anything larger and stronger than a buffalo is usually off limits. But in 2011, an astonishing discovery in Selous Game Reserve has wildlife experts baffled. On a routine trip to explore wildlife distribution north of the Rufiji River, research director Dennis Ikanda uncovers something puzzling.
To our surprise, we were finding remains of giraffes.
In under a mile, Dennis finds 4 dead adult giraffes.
We found the first killed, and less than a kilometer, we found a second one, then a third one, then a fourth one.
Closer inspection shows they've been subjected to a vicious attack. Bite and scratch wounds inflicted on the carcasses point to the work of one of Africa's deadliest predators.
We were astonished to find all the hallmarks on these kills of lions.
Somehow, lions have brought down huge adult giraffes and eaten them.
The lions have this unique way of handling their kills. They're very careful. It's just stripping off the meat, and some parts of the bones of the body are not even touched or dismembered.
And within 24 hours, Dennis finds 5 more carcasses. But if lions have started killing adult giraffes, how do they do it? The sheer size of a giraffe means lions would normally only risk an attack on a calf.
One would expect that, we would see mostly calves being targeted by lions, but in this case it's directly the opposite. Instead, they're focusing on these massive animals.
But it's not the first time lions have hunted giraffes here. Researcher Henry Brink began tracking lion prides in Selous in 2007, and he too started finding similar remains.
Initially we thought maybe the giraffe had got ill and the lions had scavenging on it. But then we started to see many more kills.
Henry is still puzzled by the kills.
I've studied lions for 7 years and I've never seen this before.
It seems the impossible prey has become a routine and regular target.
In my 12-year career of lion work, I've never seen anything like this. The number of giraffes being killed suggests, they're being hammered left, right, and center.
It seems these lions are consuming 10 times more giraffes than normal.
Usually, giraffe would comprise of 0 to 5% of the lion's diet. But, what we see here, the number of carcasses and the frequency of sighting clearly suggests that they comprise well over 50% of the lion's diet.
So why are the lions targeting giraffes? Is it through desperation, or have they discovered a new hunting technique? Giraffes stand at up to 19 feet tall. Any lion attempting an attack faces an opponent almost 5 times its own height. Biologist Monica Bond studies giraffe herds in northern Tanzania.
They have a great advantage because they're very tall. They have a really far line of sight. They can see up to a kilometer away. So they'd be able to spot any potential ambush.
Reaching speeds of up to 36 miles per hour, giraffes can easily outpace a charging lion pride. But even if the lions do succeed in catching up, they face fierce defense.
The kicking of a giraffe would be a huge obstacle to a lion. In fact, it's very, very dangerous. They have very strong, long legs, and giraffes have been known to kill lions when they're defending themselves.
It's pretty remarkable for lions to actually have a campaign against adult giraffes specifically. Because they are such risky prey items, they will kick a lion quite severely and break bones, damage jaws. Lions are generally quite wary of them, so they might take them if opportunity presents itself, but they wouldn't normally target giraffes specifically.
Unlike tackling zebras, the lions can't jump straight onto the victim's back. And the giraffe's great height makes staying out of the line of fire from violent kicks impossible.
An adult giraffe has what we call those killer kicks. One kick from their hind legs is enough to bring an adult lion down.
And the mystery deepens. With the risk of death or injury so high, surely there should be lions wounded or even dead along with the giraffe carcasses. But none have been found.
We're not seeing any injuries or mortality down to giraffe. which seems to suggest that they are proficient hunters of giraffe, or experts in giraffe hunting.
And here in Selous, there's something else that doesn't add up. To take down large prey, lions usually rely on the strength of a large and well-coordinated pride. But Henry's research shows that here, prides are only made up of around 8 lions.
It is quite interesting that, in contrast to, let's say, other areas of Africa where large prides go for large prey, here in Selous you have relatively small prides taking down giraffe.
When you have smaller prides, of course, larger prides it would be easier to pull down larger prey sizes. But when it comes to small prides, it's a lot more taxing for them to actually pull down larger prey.
With more and more adult giraffes being discovered dead, investigators don't yet know what effect this might have on Selous's vital giraffe population. Dennis puts together a team of local experts and returns to the reserve in 2012, determined to solve the mystery. While there are no eyewitnesses to these kills, there are plenty of new carcasses, and to the trained eye, they hold vital clues.
In the course of bringing it down, one individual, if not two, jumped on the back, and these scratch wounds were inflicted from up coming down. You can see some serious scratch wounds here and some major bite wounds here. And it's bitten from this angle here and suffocated until it dies.
Although this carcass has been ripped apart, there are clues to how many lions it took to kill it.
What I gather from this sighting here is that there probably were not more than maybe 4 lions, and this might have happened in between their normal meal times.
How can just a few lions take down such a colossal creature? Are these specialist killers catching the giraffes by surprise? Or could the lions have discovered a different way to ambush them?
It remains a mystery how they do it from the onset. How do they stage their ambushes? And then who does what in a pride? How do they manage to prey at such levels on giraffe?
It's thought Africa's giraffe population has been cut in half in just a decade. With so many giraffes being slaughtered here, Dennis needs answers, and fast. In Tanzania's Selous Game Reserve, lions seem to have changed their prey. Instead of going after zebras and wildebeests, they are taking on the giants, giraffes. Lions hunt around every 3 to 4 days, and in this vast land, hunts usually go unseen. So nobody knows how they are bringing down this formidable opponent. Big Cat cameraman Warren Samuels has joined the team, hoping to film a hunt for the first time, but it won't be easy.
The wildlife here is extremely shy and flighty, and lions and giraffe, they're not used to people as they are in other protected areas.
Selous is tangled with thick woodlands and dry riverbeds. With no roads or settlements, it remains largely untouched by man. So the wildlife here is even harder to get close to.
Perhaps you can try and check along the Rufiji River and then work your way up towards the short grass plains up to the north. It's going to be a tough job for you as well, but good luck.
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Warren hopes to track and follow the lion prides, but he'll need skill and luck to capture their unique behavior on camera.
I've been filming lions in East Africa now for the last 18 years. I've never actually seen lions take down a fully grown giraffe, but hopefully, with a lot of luck, we may get it.
Lions are the largest of Africa's big cats. And they're successful predators partly because they play to their strengths and kill their prey fast. Danny Govender is an expert on these killers.
Lions predominantly rely on running down animals, but because of their bulk, it comes at a disadvantage. They can't run for long. So usually a lion will resort to sort of stalking, so using cover as much as possible until they're within that zone of about 30 meters where they can run up to the prey, overpower them quickly, and kill them without causing too much damage on the lion itself.
A successful pride must set up its territory where they can ambush plenty of small game. So has something changed in Selous? Is there less prey? Is that why lions are now turning to giraffes? It doesn't look likely. With the powerful Rufiji River flowing all year round, there's a permanent water source. So even animals that normally migrate to find water have no need to leave Selous.
Here in the Selous, the situation is quite different because of the permanent water source where animals spend almost the entire year in the same locations. There's not much difference in terms of prey selection between the wet and dry season cycles.
This means smaller game animals thrive here.
Within this Selous system, there's a lot of wildebeest, there's a lot of buffalo, there's a lot of zebra. So why have they also gone after giraffe?
To find answers, Dennis has almost 1,800 square miles of inhospitable land to cover, with few dirt tracks. But he wants to document all the giraffes he finds, dead or alive.
We're here counting the number of giraffe groups throughout this game reserve. We've divided it into 3 to 5 different transects, so we're moving along each of these sampling transects and recording the number of herds that we come across and their age and sex structures. At the same time, we're recording the number of giraffe carcasses that we come across. And should we come across any lion group along the transect, we also record them.
There's a lot of giraffe herds for Dennis to record. This part of Selous is a stronghold for giraffes, with over 3,000 in the reserve attracted here by the acacia woodlands.
It has one of the densest giraffe populations in Tanzania. We've seen a herd which has over 40 individuals, so there's a large concentration of giraffe in this area.
Giraffes graze continuously. Incredibly, they survive on as little as just 30 minutes of sleep a day, napping in short bursts and often sleeping standing up. Dennis hopes that by watching their routine, it might help him find clues to how the lions are hunting.
During the day, they walk down towards the riverine habitat where there's water and a bit of browse. And during the night, they move into more open habitat where they can be much more vigilant.
Staying in open areas at night gives them a clearer view of potential predators and an easier escape route. But as he begins to map out the kill sites, Dennis's first discoveries are intriguing. Many are located in similar places to the 2011 kills, and they're in places the giraffes inhabit during the day. In Africa, lions are normally nighttime hunters, but these findings suggest they're executing their attacks in broad daylight.
Lions are nocturnal hunters, so they prefer using cover as much as possible, and the best cover is at night. They're usually then at an advantage because then they can utilize the fact that the animals are not seeing so well, their prey items are not seeing so well.
But being such adaptable predators, lions can break their own rules to fit their location.
Lions lions use the environment to the best of their ability, so they really do rely on cover as much as possible. And it makes it more difficult for them in open areas, because in open areas they're so visible. They really then will usually only hunt at nighttime, where they again are at that advantage. But in wooded areas, you might actually find that the numbers of killings increase, because they can hunt during the daytime and they've got cover all around them, so they can use that to the best of their advantage.
Feeding high up in the thick, leafy canopy, it's not going to be easy for a tall giraffe to spot stalking lions on the ground below. And in dense woodland, it's harder to escape. So have the lions just found the perfect death trap?
Knowing lions and knowing how well they can conceal themselves in vegetation, this gives them greater advantage when it comes to preying on species like giraffe. And you can see how close this is, and imagine it, the size of a giraffe having to run from lions to escape being killed. This kind of vegetation, it's very, very difficult, if possible at all.
At first glance, it seems like Dennis has found the answer, but it can't be the whole truth. As he continues to plot the carcasses, many are way out in the open, far from the woodlands.
Lions are clearly using this landscape to their advantage, but we're seeing kills in more open habitat type. So clearly, this is not the whole answer. There must be more to it.
Normally, lions don't attack adult giraffes because of their deadly defense methods and killer kicks. This unique footage filmed in South Africa shows just how dangerous an attack can be. But in Selous Game Reserve, adult giraffe carcasses litter the landscape. And no one knows why or how lions are toppling such massive animals. After 3 days, wildlife cameraman Warren hasn't filmed any hunting lions, but he has found more giraffe remains.
Dennis, come in for Warren.
Come in, Warren.
We found a giraffe carcass, which we think these lions have killed. We've picked up tracks around the carcass in the sand there, so it's definitely lions that have killed this animal. We'll just keep on searching for those lions, and maybe we'll get something.
Good luck, eh?
Thanks very much. Over and out.
Dennis adds that carcass to the list, and after days of surveying, he's beginning to see surprising results. What's becoming clear is the kills are clustered together, and it's here that Henry Brink's local expertise provides some vital insights. Having seen where the clusters are, he knows only 3 lion prides hunt in this area. And crucially, they do come into contact with each other.
In an 800 square kilometer area, we follow 13 prides. Of those 13 prides, 3 of them are the ones that are bringing down giraffe. Those 3 prides are neighboring prides. So there are 2 things that could be at play. Number 1, they share a similar kind of habitat. Number 2 is that there's interchange between the prides.
It means hunting skills, like how to kill giraffes, could move from pride to pride. Lion cubs are taught to hunt by their pride until 2 years old, when the males are driven out. Some males move to neighboring prides and fight to become the dominant leader, but others form a roaming gang that can eventually take over 1 or even several prides. Out in the reserve, Dennis has discovered a gang.
What we have here is a group of what appears to be the resident males who are in charge of 2 or 3 lion prides that occupy this area.
There's 2 giraffe carcasses close by. It's highly likely these lions are giraffe killers.
I mean, you can see how massive they are. And my only guess is, yeah, these guys are real giraffe killers. So I can almost bet you 50-50 that, you know, the giraffe is likely to be their preference over the next day or so.
Dennis reports their position to Warren, hoping he can film the hunt.
3 male lions, apparently in their prime, looking very lean and hungry. So Dennis thinks there's a very strong possibility that they're going to hunt. And hopefully we can get them hunting giraffe.
So while Warren tracks the gang, Dennis focuses on another question. It looks like there are 3 prides specializing in catching giraffes, and they are potentially passing on this knowledge to each other. But how are they killing them? Have they created a new hunting technique? Or have the giraffes in Selous become somehow more vulnerable to attack? Predators are primed to detect weakness, and these giraffes could be sick.
Lions are very clever animals, and they will take very quick notice of any abnormalities in their prey species, and so this could have a very significant effect on the lion's choice of giraffe as prey.
Over 350 miles away in Tarangire National Park, researchers Monica Bond and Derek Lee are studying a menacing condition that's been creeping through giraffe herds.
She has giraffe skin disease on the front leg.
Yep.
A mild to moderate case.
Giraffe skin disease begins as scaly skin patches around the knees of giraffe. It gradually affects the immune system and their mobility.
The sores can be from something very small, like a few centimeters, up to the entire back of the leg, and the skin looks like it's sloughing off. And then it looks like it's kind of an itchy, irritating disease. They'll often scratch their legs on the bushes, and sometimes they seem sort of reluctant to walk.
The disease is rife in Tarangire.
We did a survey last year and found about 60% of the adults had the disease. So it's widespread and pretty high prevalence.
Anything that slows giraffes down is a big problem for an animal that uses its speed to escape lions.
They definitely can see animals that are not doing so well, struggling to keep up with the herd, maybe on the outskirts, and lameness, for instance. They definitely pick up on lameness.
Could this debilitating illness explain why lions are so successful at taking down giraffes in Selous?
One theory is that if you have giraffe skin disease, then maybe those giraffes are more likely to be taken by lions.
Elsewhere, it looks like this theory is being proved right. Ruaha National Park lies west of Tarangire and Selous Game Reserve. Skin disease was first discovered here in 2000, and now 80% of the giraffes are infected. Giraffe kills in the park are uncommon, but tourists recently managed to capture this very rare and shocking footage of an actual kill. A pride of over a dozen lions has cornered and attacked a massive giraffe in a wooded area. But the giraffe doesn't seem to be fighting back. There's no killer kicks, and it's struggling to defend itself. Could it be diseased? Eventually, one large lion manages to topple the enormous creature. Disease is hitting Tanzanian giraffe populations hard. Could this be the key to solving the mystery? Dennis needs to investigate whether skin disease has spread to the reserve and is weakening the giraffes.
In this type of investigation, it's important to rule out the effect of diseases and perhaps the behavior thereafter, because disease does have a very significant role to play in this, in the sense that it may weaken the animal or even its ability to defend itself against a group of attacking lions.
In search of answers, he calls in specialist veterinarian Donald Umpanduji to examine a carcass.
Is there any obvious thing you see before you even begin looking at other clinical signs?
In terms of this carcass, what I can say as far as the skin disease is concerned, the skin is quite intact. Although the inner side has already been taken, but obviously there is no signs. It is quite normal.
Giraffe skin disease can be ruled out here, and the live giraffe herds aren't showing any symptoms so far. But skin disease isn't their only cause for concern. There's another fast-acting and less visible killer that is also spreading across Tanzania.
The giraffe in this region of Tanzania have actually suffered in recent years disease which has affected their ears, and some believe it may have affected their balance, which is crucial to maintaining stability, for example, when they're actively escaping from being killed by large predators.
Giraffe ear disease is capable of wiping out entire herds with ferocious speed. Starting out as crusty, weeping sores on the outer ear, it can knock out the giraffe's delicate balance system. For an animal that reaches 19 feet tall, balance is crucial, but its top-heavy anatomy makes that balance almost unfeasible. Their heads weigh around 70 pounds and sit on roughly 7 feet of neck, which itself can weigh more than 220 pounds. Then about 1 ton of weight pushes down onto legs around 9 feet long. And incredibly, this all balances on 4 tiny feet, just 8 inches wide. In the UK, Professor John Hutchison is examining the giraffe's incredible anatomy, focusing particularly on their balance.
It is astounding that an animal with such long legs, so huge, can balance itself on those long legs. It's sort of like, you know, how amazing it is that a bumblebee or a hummingbird can fly. But here we've got a giant animal really living at extremes of size. Why aren't they tipping over all the time? Of course, evolution is pushing them to not do that, because that would be bad. You wouldn't have many babies if you kept falling over and killing yourself. So they've evolved to have careful control, but they're still limited in what they can do by being so big and so unstable.
With balance already a challenge, any disease that induces dizziness could be fatal. Wobbly, disoriented giraffes would give any predator a huge advantage.
So a giraffe, if it did have a problem with balance, if it had something wrong with its inner ear or some other organ of balance, it would be in real trouble, because it's got this inherent instability.
Unlike skin disease, ear disease hit Salu hard. When it was first reported in 1999, it had already infected around 30% of the giraffes. It's thought the disease had died out, but has it made a lethal comeback? Is that the cause of all these carcasses now? Out in the reserve, Vet Donald wants to look for signs. Classic symptoms are drooping ears and swarms of flies that hang around the oozing infected sores.
This one here, on our right, which is normal. You see, you can see the ears are flapping quite well. You see, they are responding to the environment. So at this particular distance, I can make an assessment. You see, everything is okay.
He continues to survey the herd, and so does Dennis. They find nothing.
We have not seen any signs of diseases in the different groups of giraffe that we come across here and elsewhere in the reserve.
It's great news for the giraffes, but it seems like a dead end for the investigation. Then, in the reserve, cameraman Warren Samuels has managed to capture a tantalizing moment. He's filmed a lion sizing up a giraffe, but not quite the way he'd hoped.
This is the closest I got to filming lions hunting giraffe. And this is one of the adult females lying out here, and as you can see the herd of giraffe in the background. So I managed to get both in the shot. She was showing some interest in the giraffe, but they had clearly seen her, and she knew that, which is why she wasn't attempting to stalk. But I got quite excited. I thought, this is it. This might just happen. It may all kick off, but unfortunately the giraffe had already seen her. This has probably been the biggest challenge I've ever had to face when it comes to filming lions. I think it just highlights the fact that trying to operate here in the Selous is really, really difficult.
The terrain here has defeated Warren, but for Dennis, it seems to have provided the answer to the lion hunting mystery. After a week of surveying, he has the results back from the kill sites.
From the look of it, we clearly see there's a pattern where attacks have mostly concentrated.
Up to now, the giraffe kills appeared to be in random clusters, but with more information, it seems there's nothing random about these sites. He's closing in on the answer to this mystery, one that combines the cunning of the lions, the peculiar anatomy of the giraffes, and a unique landscape, all to make the impossible possible. So what is happening in Selous Game Reserve? Why have the lions switched from hunting wildebeests and zebras to targeting colossal adult giraffes? After an extensive investigation, Dennis's research team has finally uncovered an answer that is both complex and incredibly simple. They've recorded the location of every giraffe kill on the reserve. Added to the carcasses he found in 2011, the new positions have revealed a definitive pattern. They're spread over an area of just 25 miles and in two distinctive landscapes, wooded slopes and on dry riverbeds.
The patterns that we see is that most giraffe kills cluster in this particular habitat type, and looking around you see there's lots of sand, there's a lot of brush, and all this clearly shows that the nature and topography of the habitat around here clearly has a part to play.
This suggests the lions have discovered at least two perfect recipes for a giraffe ambush. The first is on a riverbed. Adult giraffes can weigh in at a massive 1.7 tons and are designed to run on hard, compact ground, not the soft, sandy riverbeds of the Selous.
The giraffe cope quite poorly in this sandy terrain. They're highly disadvantaged because of their weight, whereas lions, which are like 6 times lighter than the giraffe, have a much better advantage of running through this.
And it looks like this is how the lions do it. To get between their feeding sites, giraffes walk along the firm riverbanks or cut across the riverbeds themselves. The lions lie in wait to ambush from the scrub, chasing the giraffes through the sand and running them down. Any giraffe trying to escape here would sink fast, never building up enough speed to outpace a lion attack.
You can see that the lions are taking advantage of this sandy soil. It's very difficult as it is, even for us. When you're walking, your feet are sinking in, and you don't really have that balance you need to fight off a group of lions that are busy trying to attack you. And as with many of other kills that we see, this sandy location happens to be where the giraffe finally gives up its struggle against these lions.
But sandy riverbeds aren't the only location the lions are cashing in on. Selous is a haven for giraffes because it's rich in their favorite food, acacia trees. But though the food is good for them, the hilly geography definitely isn't.
Giraffes have certainly evolved for a savanna-type environment, rather open, not too many obstacles, fairly flat or gentle rolling hills maybe, but not for rough terrain by any means.
Their height and their elongated shape makes it very difficult for them to go up and down steep slopes. They're really reluctant to do that. It's not like they'll never go on a steep slope, but they'll most certainly want to avoid that. Certainly if there's a predator around, that would be a very dangerous place for a very tall, thin, elongated, top-heavy giraffe to be.
Out in the reserve, this giraffe carcass is at the bottom of a classic wooded slope. It seems the lions have learned to ambush giraffes in these dead-end valleys, where they can't easily escape.
If you have a look at this, it's really dense thicket, ideal habitat for lions to hide in. You can see the giraffe is here at the base of the hill. The giraffe is killed at the base of the hill. If you look at the hill, it's very steep and it's covered in this sort of loose boulders. So the thicket we were just in, the lions can hide in that, get close to the giraffe, and then ambush or charge the giraffe. The giraffe runs for the hill, stumbles on these loose boulders, and then the lions try and get a neck hold or a face hold and then bring them down.
But why now? This wilderness is untouched and the land unchanged. What triggered the lions to break their own hunting rules? As the investigation comes to a close, Dennis meets local safari guide Festo Masafi, who delivers some vital information. Remarkably, in his 15 years in Selous, it turns out that Festo has seen lions killing giraffes more than once.
15 years ago, I saw my first lion hunting a giraffe. I was so surprised.
So you've actually seen the lions bringing the giraffe down?
Yes, I did.
It seems this current generation of lions wasn't the first to hunt down adult giraffes, and that's a critical clue.
The fact that he has on 2 separate occasions witnessed the lions actively bringing a large adult giraffe down, clearly indicates that it's a phenomena that is ongoing. We have evidence now of at least 2 successive generations of lions executing this.
Perhaps what's most significant about Festo's first sighting is that it was 15 years ago when Selous' giraffe ear disease epidemic was at its peak. Did the strong, adaptable predators see a weakness they could exploit?
Was it the giraffe was stumbling around and looking very weak, and then the lion realized, okay, this animal can be killed quite easily? Or was it the giraffe stumbling on really loose rock and then falling over and the lion being nearby and suddenly going for it? And then this behavior carried on and is carrying on.
It's likely the first generation of lions learned to kill giraffes when they were weakened by disease. Then over time, passed on this knowledge and taste for giraffes to their young. This could make the current generation of lions so skillful that they can even overcome healthy adult giraffes. Right now, there are only 3 lion prides specializing in giraffe kills. But could these skills spread?
The ability to learn is amazing, and they do teach each other. So if a lion physically observes another pride taking down a giraffe, they can actually learn these behaviors. But it needs to usually be seen, observed, and then taught to the rest.
With such a strong giraffe population in Selous, it's not enough to put them under threat. But lions aren't the only danger giraffe herds face. Across Africa, many are struggling to survive in a rapidly changing land. And while lions are more adaptable, it seems giraffes aren't.
It's difficult to know what the future of the giraffe will be. Predictions can be really, really tricky, but these are big animals. They evolve slowly, and changes are happening in their environment really, really quickly, so they're at risk. There's certainly the concern about becoming more endangered or even going extinct if the pace of change was too quick for them.
The long-term future for Africa's giraffe populations may be unsteady, but here, for the mighty and resourceful lions, it's looking stronger than ever.
The lion's a hugely adaptable creature. It thrives in a whole range of different habitats, and learning to hunt different prey species is something that it has done in the past, and I'm sure it'll